What's up, everyone?
What's up?
It's
What's
the
up?
301 Club.
Welcome back.
Coming at you with some more financial advice to build
Yes,
wealth in
sir.
your 20s, man. So,
Welcome to the new spot.
yeah.
Changed up the scene a little bit.
Yep.
Think
We got,
looks a little better, in my
yeah,
opinion.
dude. We got another mic.
Yes, sir.
Got our own setup. I mean, that was part of the journey, right? We just
Yeah.
buckled down and we're like, we're going to try to attack this a little bit differently. We're going to
Yeah.
jump in and do it ourselves.
Exactly,
And also
do it ourselves.
hire some new talent. Because,
Yeah.
like, sometimes you just need to build your team.
For sure.
So,
Gotta have a
like,
good team behind you.
Yeah. So, we got the mixer.
Yeah, we did that too.
The
mic.
mics. We got some lights on Amazon. They were like $25.
Yeah.
I mean,
Keeping it
yeah,
budgeted a little
yeah,
bit.
100%. So
For
yeah, man. Last we left off, we were upstairs as well. But at this point now, man, we got it rented out. So
Yeah, actually, that's funny that happened, and it happened pretty quick.
Yeah.
You kind of were working on it, but then it like finalized just
Yeah.
like this month, kind of.
I mean, it just goes to show, like, you can have a friend of, like, 6 years, 7 years, whatever it may
Yeah,
be,
if
and
they
then
need a room, they need a room.
You know what? And then it's a mutual benefit because they're going to be working on doing their own thing and
Right.
setting up their life, and you're just kind of being that stepping stone along the way. And then maybe in the future,
Facts.
if they have something to give back to you, that's going to be great.
Yeah,
So
it's true.
yeah, we got
Reciprocate.
room rented, so
Yeah.
we're in the living room now of Docena.
Yep, downstairs
First
living
house.
room. Yeah, I hope they
So,
like it.
Yeah, we're talking about
Change it up a little
getting
bit.
into some more houses so
Yeah.
that we could maybe rent them out a little bit more, because actually saw
Thinking about
Lee
it, 'cause-
Arnold. Yeah,
Yeah.
we saw Lee Arnold's event, a webinar, and they talked about the rental market going up, and
Yeah, exactly.
mostly what's happening is, like, you're gonna have millennials who are making a good amount of money now, like $70,000, that can afford
Yeah,
a place maybe in, like, in our area, like Rio area, like shout out 20886.
yeah. The rent there, and I know we lived there, was like 2,800, but we got a discount on it. We paid like 21. So yeah, but it's like that's affordable for like two people or one person. I mean, one person stretching it, but two people, yeah, it makes sense. Like,
Yeah,
it's like doable, and I think it's cool that I didn't even know that, and I found out when we talked about it that the medium salary for like people graduating is 70K. That's more than I originally thought. So that's cool. I mean, it definitely gives them a chance to try to move out and do things like on their own. Get an apartment, maybe buy a house. Like, options are there for sure.
yeah, I definitely think buying a house is the way to do it. And there's different avenues to make money off your house. Like, you could purchase an auction property and then resale real quick. You could buy a contract and just wholesale that right back out, and you could do some short sales. You could even broker private money once you get to a level of where you're ready to do that. Meaning that, like, if your friend needs a loan, you can just be like, hey, here's like $2,000. Can you give me back $200 in 2 months, for example? This is a way
Yeah,
you can make money.
true.
But
Definitely a lot of
using
options
that,
out there.
doing that through real estate. So
Yeah.
we have some statistics to talk about today, which is like the wages of renters are going up for sure. They're making 70K like you talked about and what we talked about. And beyond that, man, vacancy rates are not going to be falling. So for about the next 5 years. So basically the rental market has like a lot of capability right now to be like filled with renters, because they've just been building so many units.
Right. Yeah, it makes sense that it correlates, like more people making that kind of money means I feel like most often than not, like generations, like the ones that are graduating, I feel like, I don't know if they're necessarily buying house oriented. So yeah, I feel like the renter market would probably increase. That makes sense. It correlates to that.
Yeah, man. So, like, you can see, man, like, since 2020, like, you can just look outside and see these developments being built.
Yeah, especially this area.
The rent growth has just been going up since 2020, like, exponentially. And that kind of has to do with the type of buildings that they're building are, like, live in and work kind of buildings, because these $70,000 millennials
Usually
are getting work from home jobs.
Yeah, work from home.
They want to not have to drive places. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like maybe, a suburban living situation and driving into the city to work is kind of becoming outdated a little bit.
I think
And so these
too.
people are looking to rent at a spot where they can play and enjoy themselves. And, I think one of the main places people have been renting at is in Florida. And
True.
look, it's like Las Vegas, Texas. One, I think the income, there's no income tax in, like, Florida. I know that.
Yeah,
So, like,
I think
people
that's a
are
big
taking
pull.
advantage of that.
Yeah.
But usually it was like rental sorry, retirement people.
That's what it was before, yeah.
But now it's becoming millennials,
And
man.
I think I've noticed this. I don't know if it correlates, but there are a lot of YouTubers that are in Florida and Miami now, and it's like it's a change. And I'm surprised that Austin hasn't gone up in rent because I know there are like stand-up comics like Joe Rogan that moved there, and I feel like he had a lot of pulled a lot of people to Austin. I feel like, you know, I'm surprised I didn't see Austin up there, but you know, like it does make sense Florida being pretty big because I've noticed that a lot of content creators out there.
Yeah, I mean Austin's pretty lit because we saw like a house. It was like 3 mil, right? It was pretty close to 6th Street, whatever. You know, the main poppin' street over there, and it was like, but it was a 6-bedroom, so
right,
you know,
more family oriented.
Yeah, so but that was selling for 3 mil when we were there in last year, 2021, right?
Yeah,
2022
was increasing a lot.
Crazy.
Yeah, I remember that.
January 2022.
Yeah,
I mean, and
sure.
where you really want to buy at, man, is you really want to look at maybe a single family house, because you know that's going to give you the most return on your investment that we're projecting and what the data is telling us as the rental market increases with more demand. And next on the list, you could do like lower income apartments is probably good. Senior housing is, you know, right there in the middle. Like, I mean, and especially shout out to 0886. They're actually increasing the number of senior living homes here, which is like a 62 plus only. So you have to be 62 years or older.
Yeah.
So that kind of is a little gray area if you're looking to build wealth in your 20s, obviously. But I mean, last on the list, you got student housing. So these are different ways you could get into house buying. And
different options for sure.
Yeah, and we went to a networking event, man, and like we saw mostly. I remember we shared a statistic before that the average house buyer is like 52 years old right now. So, the average age of a house buyer.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I was gonna talk about the city hall meeting just to like before we move on.
Yeah.
Talking about how like, you know, developments and stuff like that play a big role in that, and I think we went to the city hall meeting before we jump into the networking meeting. There was like a city hall meeting that we went to, and it was in Gaithersburg. And we wanted to get an update on Lakeforest. So we went and checked it out. And we found out that, you know, there's a plan in place and they have things they want to build there. They want to build townhouses, detached houses. They want to make it like Rio, and people who live in the area, they know what Rio is. And it's crazy because, you know, if that does happen, that's going to bring a lot of people in here. And there's going to be, you know, I'm guessing property value increase because of all these people that are coming in and wanting to live in this area. So yeah, it's definitely something to look out for, you know, just like look for developmental areas, try to invest around that area, because more often than not, it's gonna increase the property value.
Yeah, and like in our experience, we didn't even know that was going to be built, but we kind of should have known that because we knew that the development plan contract was laid out last year and we bought 6 months ago.
Yeah.
So that just goes to show you, like, do your due diligence and make sure that you're looking at what's being, you know, probably going to be built in the area. And, you know, your house, the property value is going to go up because of that. So
yeah,
definitely do your due diligence. And I mean,
and
City Hall, like that's a good conversation.
Like
Yeah, my bad, bro. But like, that's a good conversation to like talk about how we found that. Like,
yeah,
we actually have like a local newspaper called like the Moco Show.
Yeah,
and
that's how
I highly recommend like pay attention to your local news. Like, it's kind of even good to like withdraw from like national news or like, you know, Fox, you know, these type of different stations that are on TV, and rather you can just get a local paper or a local Instagram. I think
radio.
Loco Show.
It was like a local radio show, right?
Yeah.
Something like that. But then they have like social media, and we found out about it, and we saw that online because they came up on my Facebook, I guess, recommended, and I saw that. So I was like, you know what, we should probably check that out. And we did. We went out and then found out a lot of information, realized that it's a good investment, or we realized that we might even invest more into this area. So I mean, if people hear this, if they're investors, we're kind of giving them free money, kind of, maybe a little bit, because, you know, if they decide to invest in this area, there's definitely going to be some value that they're going to get out of it.
It's going up, man. And like, if you look at like the spread, I mean, of, you know, houses, you know, in Montgomery County specifically,
that was that
which this mall is gonna definitely affect. So yeah, we went to another networking event that we found out.
I was about to mention that
through the Moco Show again. So yeah, you can go ahead and talk about that.
Yeah, well, it's funny that we have a real estate agent that works for this agency. It's called The Agency, and we didn't even know they were gonna have this event. But the Moco Show actually said that, like, you know, you're the one that sent me that, and I was like, oh shit, we should probably go check it out, and we did, and learned a lot. And like you were saying, I kind of interrupted you there. Was like the medium average like prices for property, you know, depending on different areas, there's like definitely a drastic change. But this area, Gaithersburg, is like $385,000.
Yeah,
And ours
for
was
me,
definitely nowhere near that much, but I can understand that that's kind of the medium range. But yeah,
yeah.
Germantown's probably a little more.
It's a little bit more, but it's funny how the breakdown goes. You know, like in Gaithersburg, it's like 55% townhomes, whereas
Yeah,
in
exactly.
Potomac, you got 17%. And that mean price there is 1.2 mil. So
That's crazy,
it just
but it
goes to
makes
show,
sense.
like, you can kind of look at this data and then kind of investigate or plan your future as to where you might want to buy a home. And looking at this map of where Gaithersburg stands, like we just talked about with the development, I think it's a great time to buy in Gaithersburg, and
Yeah,
that mean price is going to go up. And kind of
definitely.
interestingly, if you look at the minimum value at 185K, that I'm guessing that goes towards more like retirement style homes, because there's a few of
Yeah,
those already here,
or
and
like condos, kind of
condos, and
condos.
exactly. And if
Yeah,
you look at a place like Potomac, they got 1%. 1% condos, and the minimum house is 815,000. Like, come on.
that's actually kind of funny. 1% condos, like damn,
Like, what?
that's
That's
like
an
nothing.
interesting statistic. Like, I would love to look more into that. If you have any comments about why there's only a 1% condo in one of the most wealthiest cities in Montgomery County, comment below.
Yeah,
I'm
true,
curious to
true.
figure that out. But this is kind of just what they talked to us about, right?
Yeah, at the
And
network meeting, or it was what the meeting was for. It was for sellers that are interested in buying, or they're thinking about it. The meeting was kind of for them. It was like a way for them to like kind of get more information on the market, which was what the information. Well, the information was being provided by the agency.
yeah,
So that's what they were doing. They were just trying to, convince people. Maybe, in my opinion, I think it was kind of trying to get people to push them to like, sell, because they were
yeah,
telling them it's like a good time. They didn't say it was a bad time to sell, but they also didn't say it was a good time. They kind of made it seem like they still have like maybe a few more. I don't know. There's like it was like they're on a downward slope where
yeah,
if they wait any more than right now, then they might not have the same opportunity to get someone to pay a certain amount.
yeah.
There was something along those
Yeah,
lines.
business is cyclical, so you can never know when that upswing is going to come back. So,
Yeah.
and long story short, everything's down right now. Like, when you're
Yeah.
looking at
Exactly.
buyer's market
Right.
versus seller's market, it's kind of debatable still, because we just got 36 days of date on market versus 34. Like, that's not really that big of a jump, in my
Yeah.
opinion. But what's happening is, compared to, I think it was 1 year ago, right? They said it was pretty much virtually 0% homes were being sold under asking, because there was so much demand, because the mortgage rates were so low. People were getting money for so much cheaper, and they were willing to buy houses at a what they were offering on the listing price or higher, because of all the competition. But however, what's
Right.
happening is, like, there's less people, there's less buyers in the market, and there's interest rates going up, and
Yeah.
it's going to keep going up, by the way, like through March.
Wow. Yeah.
So
Yeah. It's just
like
gonna.
you said, the downslope is coming, like, even
Yeah.
harder soon. Like, you're talking about a black diamond versus like a double black diamond right here. So when you're
I like that.
talking skiing, but
Skiing. Yeah.
yeah, so now it's like
Makes sense.
45% of people are getting homes sold under asking price. So that's a huge jump. I mean, I'm not sure if that's
Yeah.
from the so it probably is an effect of the market and the supply and demand, but
Yeah.
I'm also
Exactly.
interested to know if that's like individual buyers negotiating the price down. So
Right, right, right. I feel
um
like that's a big pull, and I think there's that opportunity, creates an opportunity for buyers to be like, you know what, this house has been on the market for 40 days or like 30 days, like maybe they'll take a offer below asking price. I think it doesn't hurt to do that. Like don't lowball them crazy, but like maybe a few $1,000s off the asking price or whatever you think you're comfortable with doing. Because
yeah.
it might work. You never know. Because if the house has been on the market for more than 30 days and they want to sell, maybe they'll get a little desperate, or maybe they're like, you know what, I can go down a few $1,000s and work with you. So it doesn't hurt to offer them, below asking price, especially right now, because like you were saying, buyers are down. You might as well make an offer. You probably be the only one. And if you have the money to,
Right.
because I think if you have the money to pay the mortgage, and you can afford to paying a little more for the interest rate, you can always refinance in like 2 years, or when you get down to 80% of the loan. So I don't know.
Yeah, and I
There's
mean,
options.
there's also other options, like when it comes to business options and things you can do, which included starting an LLC. And I know we had a meeting with Teresa real quick after that network meeting.
Yeah, that's right.
She works for Covenant Titles, and
Yeah, she
she
was there. I think she
helped
works with the
gave us some
agency
information,
sometimes.
which I think is
Yeah.
good for us, because of the fact that we have a titling scenario where we're trying to buy another house, but if your name's already on the title,
You
you're
don't
not going to
get
be a
the,
first
yeah.
time home buyer
Yep.
technically. So do you remember? You want to talk about what she was saying?
Yeah, that was kind of the gist of it. We were like, you know what, we should ask her about that because we wanted to know more about it. And then it's funny, she like kind of picked up on what we were trying to do, and she immediately was like, yeah, you know what, definitely, I'll give you, this is probably what you should do is create a LLC and then put the title under the LLC. That way you can still take advantage of your first time home buyer stuff. And then you can stay with like the mortgage will stay with the person who it's under, but the title will change
Yeah.
to the LLC. So it's cool, it works out, and then I'll still be able to take advantage of the first time home buyer stuff.
Yeah, you
So it
will,
works
because
out.
what they'll do is what the bank will do is they'll hire a credit check company to check your credit
Yeah.
to see if you have any other titles, because actually the titling you have of real estate is on your credit report. We found out as well. So you can
Yeah, exactly. I didn't know that.
and
We
what you
learned that
can
from
do is you
her.
can just see,
Yeah.
yeah, Teresa taught us, and you can dispute that
Yeah,
and be
true.
like, I'm look at the law, like, or look at the records on the paper, like, it's not in my name, it's in my LLC name, so technically the credit company has to remove your name from,
Right.
and then when the bank does a credit check, they're not going to see the title, the home that you have under your name, because, and what the point of this is like avoiding that the bank is going to give you maybe a higher interest rate because you already own a home, or you won't get like certain offers, like they're still offering like closing costs and
Yeah.
half the down payment at Bank of America.
Yeah, we
So,
mentioned that. They're
so shout
offering
out.
up to like $5,000 for Bank of America down payment, and then they're up to like 7,000 for closing cost. But yeah, it's crazy. There's
That's
opportunities
pretty,
there.
I mean, for a 300K house, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So like we just said, that's Gaithersburg's mean housing price, plus or minus 80K.
Yeah. It's crazy. It
It's
goes down to
interesting out here.
185. Like
Yeah.
I guess it makes sense now that I think about it, but hearing that it's like pretty low.
Yeah,
185.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like senior homes, they're a little bit less in demand or something. Like,
True.
but obviously they're needed, so the supply should be there. But it's not like these 70K, graduates,
Yeah, I never right.
a millennial graduates, Gen Z graduates, working from home, wanting a different type of lifestyle than it used to be back, before around World War II when they started building these suburbs, and then the whole car thing was. But now people are just not even trying to drive anymore.
Yeah,
So building
exactly.
communities in close proximity to your work, to play, to bars.
Yeah, exactly.
That's where you want to buy a $300,000 house, because that thing's going to go up. But just last thing I want to touch on about that marketing event is, the way we actually ended up talking to Teresa, because at the end of the day, we could have walked out of there and not said anything to anybody.
Right.
But I'm a firm believer that when you go to a marketing event, you should introduce yourself to at least one person. And I saw Teresa like in the corner, and she was talking to someone else, so she was busy. So it's kind of rude to like go up to a group and be like, hey, I have a question. You can slide your way in by joining the conversation, but that's risky because you kind of need to know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
But instead, we caught her walking away from the conversation, and I saw her name tag, and I just shouted out, Teresa, and she said, hey, can I help you? And we listened in the beginning about how she introduced herself as the title
title person.
part of the title company within the agency.
Yep.
So
Or it's its own identity, its own business.
yeah, it's a separate business. But at the
They
end
work
of the
together,
day,
that's why she was there.
yeah, at the end of the day, I just called her name, and I had a question for her that was related to her profession, that she can make money off of with us,
working with us.
working with us. So that's just networking right there. Like,
Yeah.
how can you benefit off of another person's knowledge? Doesn't have to be financial. It could be financial,
Right.
but
It's reciprocated,
that
though.
day it was strictly knowledge based.
Yeah,
Mutual.
She gave us a lot of information.
Yeah, and we might end up using her to
To help us
transfer
with
that
the
name
title.
over.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah.
That'd work. Yeah. I'm excited for that. We still got to do it, but I'm sure we're gonna figure it out probably within the month, because we were thinking about buying another place soon, very soon in March. We were thinking, so stay tuned. We'll have updates on that.
Yeah.
In the next month, I'd say.
Yeah, stay tuned. Become a fan. Smash that like button and subscribe.
Yes, sir.
301 Club out.
We out.